everybody, welcome back to Off the Beaten Couch. This is episode 2 in the series of Families in Flux, the enabler, or as I like to refer to it more, the reluctant protector. I'm Bonnie Adams, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in helping individuals and couples and families overcome their struggles with addiction. Now, if you're the one who's always stepping in to help smooth things over, picking up the pieces, or trying to keep the peace, this episode is for you. And if you're not sure, stick around. You might recognize yourself more than you expect. So let's get real about enabling. It doesn't mean you're weak, naive, or clueless. Most of the time, it comes from a place of deep loyalty, love, and fear. You want to protect your loved one from pain and consequences. You want to keep your family together. You want to believe that things are going to get better if you work hard enough. But all that helping can actually keep your loved one stuck. Maybe you cover up for your loved one, you make excuses, or you pay their bills, or try to fix their problems. After a while, it is utterly exhausting. You might feel resentful, anxious, or like you've even lost yourself in the whole process. This isn't just about your relationship with the person struggling with substance use. Codependency can quietly rewrite the script of literally every relationship that you're in, and even how you see yourself. The more you step in, the more your loved one is going to come to rely on you to manage consequences, solve crises, and shield them from reality. This can create a process where their growth or recovery is completely stalled, and your life starts revolving around their needs and their behaviors. Sometimes your relationship shifts from partner, parent, or sibling to manager, rescuer, or even the detective. Maybe you're so focused on the relationship with your addicted loved one that other relationships in your life start taking a backseat. You might unintentionally start rejecting your partner, your friendships, or even other children in the family. Siblings likely feel invisible and resentful. Partners start to feel shut out or may even become a little bit codependent themselves. The family system can become unbalanced with everyone revolving around the crisis. Maybe you've started to pull away from friends because you're embarrassed, exhausted, or just don't have the energy. Social invitations are getting turned down. You might lie or make excuses to cover up what's really going on at home. Over time, your world shrinks, leaving you isolated and completely unsupported. When your main focus is someone else's well-being, your own needs, dreams, and even your sense of self fades into the background. You've probably stopped asking yourself, what do I want? Or how do I feel? It's easy to lose sight of your own identity, your hobbies, and your happiness. Sometimes you only feel okay when your loved one is okay, which is a roller coaster you just simply can't control. No one chooses this role on purpose, okay? It happens gradually and with good intentions. You want to help, but over time you find yourself carrying more and more and more of the emotional load, the physical load, the mental load, all of it. Family systems fall into patterns. This is just the nature of systems. But sometimes this happens for years and sometimes for generations. You may have even learned this way of coping from your very own upbringing. And let's be honest here, sometimes enabling is reinforced by others, which just solidifies that pattern of responses that we have with other people and the struggles that we're going through. Maybe you're the only one who gets things done, or people rely on you to keep the peace. It's a heavy burden to carry. Let's talk about what you can do if you see yourself in this role. And I promise I'm not going to say practice self-care. And I promise I'm not just going to say practice self-care and move on. Let's get specific and practical about this, okay? So first, I want you to notice your patterns. Start by paying attention to what it is you're stepping in to do for your addicted loved one. Are you covering up? Are you making excuses? Or are you rescuing them from consequences? Write down a few examples. No judgment with this. It may hit home a little bit. You may feel a pretty big impact with that, like, oh geez, what am I doing? But let's try not to judge it. Let's try to just be aware of it, because I want to find how this is beneficial for you. Because a lot of the times when we step into this role, it's because we're in a lot of distress. If I take care of this, I don't have to worry about them flubbing it up. Because 9 times out of 10, when they flub it up, it falls on me. The consequences fall on me. I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces. So it makes sense why you would want to step into that role where you are becoming over responsible for their life having meaning or stepping into recovery or not doing things that are going to harm themselves. So the second one, I want you to pick just one small boundary to try. And remember that boundaries don't have to be dramatic. Boundaries are for you, not the other person. If you're creating boundaries for other people, they're actually rules. And I don't know a whole lot of people who are going to want to live under a dictatorship in relationships. So the boundary is for you to stay within the bounds of your own authenticity. What do you value? And how can you show up in relationships where you're not asking yourself to compromise your values? So maybe the small boundary can be, I'm not going to call in sick for you at work anymore. Or I can't give you money, but I can definitely help you look for resources. Choose one thing that feels possible and stick with it. Boundaries are about protecting your energy and your sanity, not punishing your loved one. Next on this list, recharge in real everyday ways. Forget the spa days if it's not your thing. I don't really know anybody who can invest in spa days every day anyway. What helps you feel like yourself again, even if it's just for 10 minutes? So you can take a walk outside, leave your phone at home, if it's possible for you to do so. Listen to your favorite music in your car, roll your windows down, cook yourself a real meal and sit down at the table to eat it. Have some ritual and some tradition that can help you maintain and have a sense of control throughout your day, that you know that at 6 o'clock, you're going to cook yourself a meal and sit down at the table and have dinner regardless. Call a friend, not to talk about addiction, but just everyday things that you're experiencing, things that you're excited about, something that you saw that made you feel some gratitude. Talk about your own day. Dive into a book, a puzzle, or a hobby that you used to love, even if it's for 10 minutes. Tidy up a space in your home so it feels like you have a little bit of control over your environment. This helps you feel more grounded. I think reconnecting with others is vitally important when you have a relationship with someone who's struggling with substance use. In the recovery circles, they talk about all the time, the opposite of addiction is connection, and that's the same for the family or loved ones, friends of people who are struggling with substance use disorders, because it's so isolating to be in these relationships. It's not like we have people checking in on us all the time, but reconnecting with people outside of the addiction helps immensely. Reach out to someone that you know and let them know what's going on so that they're aware of what it is that you're experiencing in your life. You don't have to spill every single detail, but just letting them know, hey, I'm going through a really difficult time right now, can really be a relief for you. If you're ready, or when you're ready, check out a support group through Al-Anon or through smartrecovery.org for friends and family, or even an online community. Sometimes just hearing me too is a total game changer. I want you to give yourself permission to pause, even if it's only once a day. Just give yourself permission to pause. When you get that text, don't open it right away. If you get that phone call and they leave a voicemail or you answer the call, maybe you don't be the first one to try jumping in. Try saying instead, let me get back to you on that. Give yourself a moment to breathe and think before you react. It's okay to not have all the answers right away. Grounding yourself through this process can be very difficult. Try revisiting things that bring you joy or that you find interest in. Ask yourself, what did I enjoy doing before all of this? Or what's something I'd like to try again? Even if it's just for a few minutes a week, reclaiming your identity is so powerful. Okay, so I know that changing these patterns is very difficult. You're probably worried that if you stop helping, everything's gonna fall apart. And maybe that's kind of a little bit true, or is gonna feel a little bit true in the beginning. But over time, the system wants to maintain homeostasis. And so some of the other members are gonna maybe step up a little bit and start doing their part. They're going to start fulfilling their roles. You might be a little bit afraid that your loved one is going to get angry or shut you out, or other members of the family are going to get angry and shut you out. They might already be feeling abandoned by you, and you might be overcompensating in certain areas for them as well too, because you feel guilty. Pumping the brakes a little bit on that is not going to have a super damaging effect, at least not the effect that we might convince ourselves is going to happen. Remember that you're allowed to have boundaries. You're allowed to have a life outside of someone else's crisis. And sometimes letting go just a little can give the space that your loved one needs to start taking some of the responsibility, or allows other members of the family system to start stepping up in new ways. So I'm going to link some of the resources that I've shared before in other videos in the description of this video. We talk about SAMHSA, which has 24/7 support and finding resources in your area. smartrecovery.org for friends and family. You can find all kinds of worksheets, meetings, online meetings in your area, finding a group that you can connect with, whether it's online or in person. Al-Anon.org is a free group for loved ones of people who are struggling with alcohol and substance use. If you want to find a therapist in your area, you can look on Psychology Today and find a therapist who specializes in addiction and systems work. And if you want a practical guide, Beyond Addiction by Jeffrey Foote is an amazing resource for friends and family. So know that you're not alone and you're not broken if you find yourself in the enabler role. Every small change, every pause, every boundary, every moment you take for yourself matters. You're not abandoning your loved one by doing this. You're supporting them and yourself without losing who you are. Next time, we're going to talk about the hero, the overachiever who tries to save the family by being perfect. Until then, try one small thing just for you. You deserve support and a life that's more than just crisis management. Thanks for hanging out with me on Off the Beaten Couch. If this episode hits home, share it with someone who needs to hear it or drop a comment. I'd love to hear your story.